And then after you got out, where did you go to work?
I went to work for Cincinnati Bell.
How many years were you at Cincinnati Bell, and what were some of the positions you held?
I was at Cincinnati Bell for about 24 and a half years. And I started there as a staff assistant, I think they called it. I think I was called a business research assistant or something like that when I started. And when I left Cincinnati Bell, I was vice president of information systems, and it was the old Bell system was a very standard organization structure. So you just had levels of management, they called it. So I started as a first level manager and went second, third, fourth, and the fifth level management was the vice president level.
So you ended up at a fifth level manager when you left the phone company.
Yes.
Where did you go after that?
Well, I left the telephone company when they were having a reorganization and downsizing and all of those kind of good things. And so I retired from the took an early retirement offer that they made at that time. And then I hooked on with the city of Cincinnati. One of the guys I worked with at the telephone company put me in touch. The city had the guy that led their technology organization had just retired, and they were looking for somebody to lead the organization on a temporary basis. So I actually hired on as a consultant / contractor to run the organization and write a report as to changes I thought the organization should undertake, which I did. And the city didn't do anything for a while. That happened in a year, and in about 18 months, they decided that they were going to hire somebody to fill that position permanently, and so I applied and was selected to fill the position permanently. So I worked as contractor / consultant for a year and a half, about.
Okay. What do you consider your biggest accomplishment during your career?
My biggest accomplishment?
Thing you're most proud of about your career?
You mean at work?
Yeah.
When I was at the telephone company, there was just in the early days of automating, mechanizing a lot of manual processes. And so I was picked to be the project manager for two of those processes. First one to automate what we call the business office, and that's a place you called if you had a question about your bill. And so we set it up so that they would have all their records on the computer and so on. And nobody knew a whole lot about networking or anything at that time, so we were kind of breaking new ground, not that I was figuring it out, but I was responsible for seeing that it got done right. And we brought that project in pretty much right on schedule. The schedule we set when we start the thing off. And then after that, we were going to automate the repair process. Again, it was the office you called if you had some kind of problem with your telephone service. And all that work used to be kept track of on paper, and so we put that all on the computer again. And actually, I was promoted before that that process finished. That was actually a more difficult process. But about 6 weeks after I was 6 months after I was promoted, the lady who took it over for me called me up one day and she said, "We just converted." And so I congratulated her on finishing it. And she says, "And you know what day it was?" I said, "No, what?" She said, "It was on the day that we set at the very beginning of the process. We said, this is our target to convert our first office." And so those were big projects, and there was a lot at risk for the company. And I was very proud of the fact that not only did they go in and did they work as they were supposed to work, but the fact that they were done exactly on the timetables we set for them. Not something that happens very often.